Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. Look here, Patricia's laying in the bed, battered and bruised, right? Ray Jr.'s laying on top of her, telling her mama it's going to be okay, it's going to be fine. But she's laying there bleeding, and she's looking at the ceiling trying to figure out, what do I do? What have I done? Yeah, her life wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect. But she had never put herself in a situation like this to cross the line and be with another man and then set up her own husband and he take a fall and he goes to prison and now he's going to be there for quite a long time and she has nobody. She has nobody. She doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know what to do. She's hurting. She's hurting. So she calls up her friend, the police chief, the assistant police chief, and she tells her that she needs to talk to somebody. So they decide to meet the next day, and when she goes to meet her at the restaurant, she's got on shades, and she takes the shades off and she lets her friend see her face, and she said, "This is what you get when you play dope games." And the police chief looked at her and said, "Oh my God, what happened to you?" And she told her the whole story about what Kenny did, and she's still lost as to why he did it. So her friend told her, said, "Look, I got something I need to tell you." She said, "Your guy Kenny has a wife and kids in another state. And he just paid a visit to the prison to see Ray." She said, "I can't prove it, but I believe that Ray told him that he knew what was going on. Because when Kenny left the prison, he was frantic. He sat in the parking lot, hitting on the stairwell, trying to figure out what to do. So we think that Ray confronted him with the realities of the streets. And he told him that he knew he had betrayed him. And they felt as though if this were true, that she may be in danger. So she told her friend, she said, "He'd never hurt me. He'd never hurt me. If for nothing more, it would be for Ray Jr." So she said, "Are you sure?" She said, "I'm positive. He would never hurt me." She said, "I'm going to go visit him. And I'm going to tell him everything, except for what we did." So her friend told her, said, "Look, I get it. But you know he's still not going to be getting out for a while. And if he does get out, it's going to have to work its way through the courts. But he could never know what we did." And she said, "Of course. Of course." And her friend, still being greedy, told her, said, "Look, there's another account that you have access to. We might as well split that money up. Because I've taken a lot of risk in what I'm doing. And I just want to be straight in case something goes wrong." And she told herself, "You're sure, of course. I understand." They were both going to split $500,000. That's $250,000 apiece. Her and her boyfriend were going to be fine. And, of course, Patricia was going to be fine. They had millions of dollars all over the world. Money everywhere. They were never going to be hurting as long as they lived within the means that they have, and that means you can do almost anything you want to do when you got millions and millions and millions of dollars, multiple bank accounts. You feel me? And nobody's coming after them anymore. So she agreed to do that, and her friend told her, said, "If you need anything else, let me know. But other than that, we're done. We're washing our hands with this. If he ends up getting out on appeal, so be it. We're not going to be pursuing anything else. We tried. We walk away from this. Nobody has to know anything." They both agreed, and she hugged it. She said, "If you need anything or somebody trying to hurt you, call and let me know, and I got you." And she did. They left. Went their separate ways. So when Kenny called to tell her that he was sorry, she hung up the phone. She said she never wanted to talk to him or see him again. And he told her that he was sorry that things turned out the way they did. But she didn't want to hear that. She felt that here's another situation where she had been played. And she had. She got played. So she waited for the phone to ring again, and she was hoping that it was Ray, and it was. She accepted the call, and the first things out of her mouth was, "I'm sorry." And he was on the other end of the phone, and he said, "I know everything that went on, even the money. And if she's listening right now," talking about the police chief, "tell her that. Let her know. Leave me alone, and I'll leave everybody else alone." And the police chief was listening. And she took that for what it was worth. She took it for what it was worth. And he told Patricia, "Make sure you come see me this weekend. And we'll move on as if this never happened." And she sat there with the phone in her hand and tears rolling down her face, and with all the strength that she could muster, she says, "I'll be there." But she said to him, she said, "I don't look as good." She said, "He beat me." He said, "Why? Why did he beat you?" She said, "I don't know, but he beat me." And Ray, he became enraged, and he said, "Okay, come see me anyway." So when she came to see him that weekend, she brought Ray Jr. with her, and when they were sitting at the visitation table and they were talking, Ray couldn't take his eyes off of her. She looked as beautiful as she always had to him. He loved her, and he wanted to figure out how to do right by her, but he had done so much wrong. He literally, listen to me, he literally had kids all over the South. Baby mamas everywhere. Slept with so many women, there's no way to even count them. But he loved her. He truly loved her. But the game had made him into something that he never wanted to be. He wanted the money so he could be financially secure, but the money turned him into a monster. And he wanted to tell her all of this, but he couldn't find the words. The only thing that he knew to do was to protect her. And he took his hand and he ran it across her face, the bruises that were on her face, the black eye that she had. He leaned forward and he kissed her everywhere that she was bruised and battered. And he told her that, "I'm gonna make this right." And as the tears rolled down her face, Ray Jr. was hugging her, and he was hugging her, and he said, "I'm gonna make this right." And she said, "I just want you to come home. I just want you to come home so we can move on." She said, "I'm sorry for what I did." And he looked at her and he said, "There's a lot that I need to tell you about me. And after I tell you all of the things about me, I'm not so sure that you're going to want to be with me, but I don't want to lose you." And she told him that she knew that he had been cheating on her since college. She knew that he was all over the place. So she assumed that a lot of things had went on that she hears about, you know what I'm saying, related to drug dealers and all of that kind of stuff. And she said, "Whatever it is, just tell me. And if I can't take it, let me go. But I love you. I always have. And I always will. But don't make me feel like I'm trapped in this. You're not trapped. I'm not trapped. And if we can't do this the right way, let's just go our separate ways." And Ray, he sat there and he listened to her, and for a minute, the rage that was inside of him, it boiled up, right? And if you want to hear what he said and did after this, you're going to have to tune in to the next episode. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all. I'm getting